9 seasons in the NFL. He was a first-round draft selection in 2009. Pro Bowler, starting center for the team, 2-time Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, and he's now an author. Here's a book right here called Tackle What's Next. Own Your Story, Stack Wins, and Achieve Your Goals in Business and Life. Eric Wood, who's calling the game on radio tonight for the Buffalo Bills fans to hear it, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being with you, brother.
You got it. I mean, we've spoken before, but first time we're meeting in person.
I know, this is fun.
It is indeed. Good fun. So the expectation level for this team is insane. It is through the roof. And all of my colleagues on NFL Network, we chose the Bills to win it. We had Mina Kimes of ESPN here yesterday. She chose the Bills to win it. We had Thomas Dimitroff, former GM of the Falcons, and so much more on the show last hour. I said, choose a roster you think that we would be best equipped to win it. He chose the Bills. How is that landing with the actual Bills organization in the locker room and the players, Eric?
Well, I think I would look bad if I chose against them at this point then, if everyone else is. But, you know, the expectations have been high for a few years, and that's what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have built.
Right.
Sean McDermott came in, Brandon Beane came in my last year with the Bills in 2017. They set the culture. They had to make some really tough decisions. They got rid of a bunch of guys in the building that had been there a while, and they've built it, starting with Josh Allen and a bunch of key pieces. And now it's amazing to me that Buffalo's now cool. Like, it's a cool spot to be and to play, and you're attracting guys like a Von Miller who comes in free agency, and that's where you're seeing this team in this roster. They've built. They got Pro Bowlers at every position group besides running back and tight end, and they just signed Dawson Knox, who leads the league in touchdown catches for tight ends last year. They just signed him to a contract extension.
But how are they handling it? Because, again, you got folks like my colleague across the way here and Chris Brockman that keeps talking about pressure, and I think it's going to roll off their back. But, you know, when January hits and games get tight, or games, in order to make January happen to the best of their ability, maybe as a 1 seed, which is the only spot that gets a bye in our new playoff world, when the pressure lands, how are they handling the level of expectation best you can tell being around the team, Eric?
You know, I think internally it's business as usual. And these guys aren't necessarily focusing on the expectations. A lot of them are coming into the season with a bitter taste in their mouth at the way last season ended. With that final 13 seconds in Kansas City, they understand that 2 years in a row, they get eliminated in Kansas City at Arrowhead. They want to host an AFC championship game in Buffalo this year, and they understand what that can do to help them get over that hump. So, you know, I think it's business as usual. And Sean McDermott, the way he leads on a day-to-day basis with his consistency, I think that'll keep the guys level-headed. But I know they're excited about tonight to be on this big stage. And I played in 2 primetime games, not excluding Thursday night. I played in 2 primetime games in 9 years when I was with the Bills. This year they have 5 primetime games alone before they get flexed. So the expectations are high, but I think internally they're handling it well.
So how does McDermott coach then? You just mentioned how he's consistent. Give me some examples of that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, because he's not a yeller, he's not a screamer.
Right.
And so it's constant analysis every single day. He always preaches on a growth mindset. He was talking trust the process before Joel Embiid was. And so each and every single day, it's a consistent approach. But this is a guy who wakes up at 4 some in the morning every single day, whether they're at the facility or not. He gets his workout in, and his consistency that he brings on a day-to-day basis, it rubs off on everyone else in the organization.
Eric Wood here on the Rich Eisen Show. It's amazing that the defending Super Bowl champs, who got better, by the way, who did not lose their head coach or general manager. Usually that might happen, or they did lose their offensive coordinator, obviously, but they've lost their offensive coordinator before and replaced him with somebody who became a head coach again, you know.
Right.
Right. Zach Taylor goes out. In comes Kevin O'Connell. Now he's out. They got better. They got Bobby Wagner. They got Allen Robinson. We're talking about the Bills, and rightfully so, because of how stacked they are. Right. But I mean, what a game tonight is. What is the challenge? Break it down for me. By the way, you're doing the first breakdown of a game, right? We haven't done that in 7 months. Last people we broke down was Super Bowl 56. Absolutely. Was the conversation. Yeah. So let's this is great. Let's talk about the game.
All right, let's break it down. Yeah, so 2 super talented rosters, and you mentioned they returned so many key pieces off of that Super Bowl team last year. The only guy they really lose On either side of the ball would be on the lines, Von Miller and then Andrew Whitworth, their starting left tackle last year. He goes into retirement. You'll see him on TV now. And that's going to be an interesting matchup with Von Miller and Noboom on the outside. Can he withstand 4 quarters of a guy who's coming in to his former team, and he's going to want to make a splash in this game? Von Miller's going to want to make a splash. And then you have maybe the best defensive player, maybe the best player in the NFL on the Rams defensive line, and Aaron Donald, who wants to show up in prime time here in this game as well. We always say those D linemen try a little bit harder in primetime games. So that's going to be an interesting matchup along the lines. Starting cornerback Tre'Davious White is out for the Bills, all-pro corner. He's going to be on the PUP list to start the year. He'll miss at least the first 4 weeks. And so when you look at a receiving core with Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp, who primarily plays in the slot, and so that'll be an interesting matchup with Taron Johnson. But when I look at it, this Bills pass rush is what held them back last year. And I say held them back. They were the number 1 defense statistically in the NFL. But against playoff teams last year in the regular season, only 5 sacks against playoff teams. So of their 41 sacks on the year, 5 were against playoff teams. So they brought in a Von Miller, a Daquan Jones, a Tim Settle. They draft Greg Rousseau in the first round last year to get a consistent pass rush against good quarterbacks. And I think that's what can help out these 2 rookie cornerbacks in Kaiir Elam and Christian Benford that'll be starting for the Bills tonight.
Eric Wood breaking stuff down, former Buffalo Bill, now part of the Bills broadcast team, and now an author, and so much more going on in your life we'll get to in a second right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Tom Brady spoke today, and we're going to play a soundbite for that before we get out of Dodge on our Thursday program. Send you to SoFi, Eric. But he's got some interior offensive line issues in front of him. How significant do you think that is?
It can be significant because if you look back at the times in Tom Brady's career that he struggled, it's that interior pressure. Think back to the Eagles Super Bowl loss with Fletcher Cox coming right up the middle. He's great at stepping up in the pocket, but he's not super mobile to escape the pocket on the outside. So when it collapses from the inside, that could be an issue. And although Tom Brady's in his mid-40s, he throws the deep ball as well as anybody in the NFL, but that only happens with time. And so I think this year you're going to have to establish a run game. A lot of that's going to have to come off the play action because those guys on the interior, you lose one of the best centers in the game in Ryan Jensen.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
Well, I mean, and he can get rid of the football fast, and he's got the weapons around him, but he's also a 45-year-old guy, right? And it's just I've laid my marker on the Bucs to win the NFC, and I've laid my marker on the Raiders to win the AFC West. And every single time I say that to somebody else in my world or the industry, I'm hearing their lines aren't going to be good enough to hold up. You know?
And that makes a big difference. And especially with Tom Brady, because he's so good you can't blitz him.
Right.
If you blitz Tom Brady consistently, he's gonna burn you. We had Rex Ryan with the Bills for 2 years playing against Tom Brady, and you'll get him at times with the blitz, but he's gonna find the gaps and he'll make you pay. So you can't blitz him. You've got to pressure with a 4-man pass rush, and a lot of that's got to be on the interior because, like I said, he can step up so well. As far as the Raiders' offensive line, they lose my boy Richie Incognito. He's off into retirement now. Mm-hmm. With their offensive line, if they can hold up, they have so many weapons on the outside.
That's right.
And then,
good luck if Devontae Adams is active against you,
right?
And then Waller is active against you, and if you got to focus, you got to focus on one of those two guys, right? You've got to shade to at least one of those two guys, and then Renfro,
right?
Renfro doing his, tornado type maneuvers. That's why I dig him a lot. And Max Crosby with Chandler Jones. That's why I'm on them. But everybody keeps saying their line stinks. Literally, those are the words that come back at me from talent evaluators and general managers or anybody else who I've been talking to.
Yeah, and that division's just so stacked that who knows who's even going to come out of that division. Mm-hmm. And so when you're looking at Super Bowl chances, MVP chances, that division's going to beat each other up. I had Nate Hackett, who was with me in Buffalo, head coach of the Broncos. I had him on my podcast.
Yes.
And I said, you getting any sleep preparing for all these pass rushers? And he's like, no, it's no joke. I take this job, and everybody in the division goes out and gets him a high-priced, free agent, fun guy to go rush the passer as well. But that's what happens when you load up on quarterbacks and playmakers. The easiest way to combat that isn't necessarily go out and find the next Jalen Ramsey or Tre'Davious White. A lot of the best way to do it is to go find pass rushers.
Eric Wood here on the Rich Eisen Show. So you had You had, as you called him, Nate Hackett on the Eric
Am
Wood.
I supposed to call him Nathaniel?
No. But it just shows you. Well, I mean, so many people call Brady Tommy, and it's just like,
Right.
okay, you've been around him.
Well,
so
me and Nate were neighbors in 2009. When I got to the Bills, he was quality control with the Bills,
Yeah.
and we were neighbors. So to me, he'll always be Nate.
what an opportunity he's got in front of him. I mean, this is a major moment for his first head coaching opportunity, and Russell Wilson is acquired for his first opportunity. There's new owners there,
Right.
the Walton family, who just found another $1 billion under their couch cushion while they were chilling out with Commissioner Goodell. So you put it all together, and he's got an incredible opportunity in front of him. What is his what's his readiness level in your estimation for this, Eric Wood?
Yeah, I think it's excellent. And when you look, he's learned under LaFleur. He's been under Doug Marrone. He's been around. His dad was a coach in the NFL. He grew up in the coaching industry.
Well, his dad was the coach that was before Pete Carroll at USC.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different levels that Paul Hackett was around. So obviously he's got the pedigree. But what about the moment that's arriving? Game management, AFC West. Opportunity is remarkable for him. So
he's got so much experience in this league. You never know with a first-time head coach. You never know exactly how that's going to go.
Right.
And with him calling plays and being so in tune to the offense as well, he's going to have a lot on his plate. It helps that you got a veteran quarterback and a guy you trust on the field in Russell Wilson. And then he surrounded himself with an excellent staff. And from everyone I've talked to in that building, they love the energy that Nate has brought into the building, and nothing against the old staff. It's just not the same upbeat energy that you get from Nate Hackett, where the guys get excited to come to work each day. I mean, you're talking about a guy who taught hip hop dance classes. I mean,
okay,
Nate's fun.
Say what? Hold on. What? I didn't know that. What? Keep going. What do you mean?
So Nate was what was he? He's like a nuclear. He's like almost like he's like a mad scientist.
Okay.
He, super intelligent guy. And then he got into teaching hip hop dance classes prior to coaching in college.
Huh. So he can move, is what you're saying?
He can move. And, you'll only catch that at maybe like the rookie show. You might talk him into it. He's not standing up in front of team meetings each and every day, busting out dance moves, but he's got some rhythm.
I mean, we've seen NFL films, moments captured in locker rooms, celebratory locker rooms. Andy Reid dabbing like it looked like he pulled his back muscle. And
Mac Brown.
Yeah, we've yes, or even in college basketball, right, with Roy Williams, sneaking into the locker room. But so you're saying Nathaniel, because I don't really know him, Hackett has a hip hop dancing background that we may actually see on display of some sort?
He does, and for a second I was thinking maybe I blew his cover, but then I remembered he talked about this on my podcast I did with him. So
Eric, it's okay, man.
Yeah. So he's got some rhythm, and hopefully this gets out there bigger now so that he can show those moves on the sideline. Maybe they get a little locker room dance video.
Let's
of him.
ride. Do we have a whole new meeting? Let's ride.
Rich, I did
Yes,
see an interview with him where he asked Sierra, Russell Wilson's wife, about being in a video.
Whoa.
So
Nathaniel.
Yes, he does.
Hackett.
What Eric's saying is correct. He's got the moves like Jagger, and he did talk to Sierra about possibly being in the video, so we might get that collab.
How can he not wind up in it?
Yeah,
Did that influence the decision to bring in Russell Wilson?
Could have sealed the deal.
I think he said he was more.
Russ is like, I don't know. Do I want to go to Denver? Do I not? Well, you know what? I taught hip hop dance classes in college. Sold. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
And this is how we go. Okay, very good. Eric Wood here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about your book, sir. Tackle What's Next. Own your story, stack wins, achieve your goals in business and life. There's the book right here, forward by Sean McDermott. Very nice. So what do you want people to know about this book and what they can glean from this?
Yeah, so this book is on transition. So little backstory. 2017, I signed a contract extension before the season with the Bills. I'm the only player on the team to play every single snap that year, and my career ends at the end of the year. They find, after our playoff game, trying to get cleared for the Pro Bowl, find a career-ending neck injury, disc and bone sitting in my spinal cord, and no matter what, I can't come back and play football. And so that set me on a transition out of football that so many over these last couple of years because of COVID, and whether it's career, relationships, whatever it may be, we're always in this constant period of transition. I started a podcast called What's Next with Eric Wood, got a bunch of coaching, learned from mentors, and compiled it all into this book that I think can serve people in a way in their life to whether you had this catastrophic catastrophic event, or you simply just want to make your tomorrow better than your today. There's a lot of great lessons from very influential people on my life in that book, and it's fun football stories from coaching moments playing for Sean McDermott and Rex Ryan to Bobby Petrino in college, and then podcast guests that have ran across the board that have just made a huge impact on my life.
So one day you're thinking you got your whole career ahead of you, you signed your contract, you haven't missed a game, and then somebody's like, you can't play anymore.
Yeah.
What was that day like for you?
It was wild. So I had driven back to Louisville. My wife was pregnant with my son, Garrett, who's now 4. And so she had driven back to Louisville already. She was back in town. She was going to deliver in Louisville. And I can't blame her because it was a January due date. And to that point, we were playing in the longest playoff drought in all of pro sports. So she did not assume that we would make the playoffs that year. So she scheduled it for a delivery in Louisville. So I drove back, and 50 minutes before my son was born, I get the call that my career is over. So a whirlwind of a day. Nurse comes in, and my wife's upset. She's crying a little bit, and nurse comes in and said, "Honey, it's not going to hurt that bad." And Leslie said, "It's not about the baby," So we had one of those fun moments. We laughed now, but we weren't laughing as hard at the time. But I just had so many people pour into me through this transition, getting into broadcast, some different business opportunities, that this book is a way for me to honor many of those individuals.
And what'd you learn?
So much. So much.
Because there's so many people, it'd just be, it'd be difficult to transition or find the strength to transition. And find the ability to dig in. Certainly if you only know one thing, which, one assumes with football players, you're great at football and then maybe not so great, or think you can be as great at other things.
Right.
And we talk about transitioning so much. Next week we've got Nate Boyer here, and that's what his MVP is all about, is transitioning, with Glazer transitioning out of either the military into your next life or out of sports to your next gig. And I'm fascinated by the subject.
Yeah. So the thing I talk about often is finding success in all buckets of life. So that's finance and career, that's spiritual, emotional, relational, physical. And when you can successfully fill those buckets, you're going to feel more fulfillment in your life. You're going to set yourself up to be more successful in that transition. You're going to prepare yourself for that. And that looks like so many different things. But when you come from a life in pro sports or military or a business where you've worked the same job for so long, you have a built-in routine that now you have to recreate. And I think that's where you see a lot of pro athletes, former military, they get caught in this rut because for the first time in their life, they don't wake up with a clear purpose in the morning. And they don't have their values stated on the wall like they had in the Buffalo Bills facility every day when we walked in. And so being able to create some core values in your life, get into a routine, stack wins is what I call it, but get some habits each and every day that can benefit you in all buckets of life, and you'll start to find fulfilling opportunities come your way.
Well, you're not just stacking wins, you're stacking seasoning, it appears right here. We've got 5 bottles of seasoning right here. What is Dano's seasoning?
So Dano's seasoning is a company that I partnered up with, and Dan Oliver created this seasoning. It's low sodium, no sugar, gluten-free, 0 calorie. And for me, I had to go from 310 pounds and lose some weight. That was going to be the best thing for my neck. And then moving forward, it's not healthy for me to carry a bunch of extra weight. So throughout that transition, try to get on a much healthier eating journey. Dano seasoning allows you to bring a ton of flavor to food, some healthy foods that'll nourish your body, give you that energy, but not add a bunch of calories and crap in the meantime.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at some of these bottles here. Everything Bagel, which I used to be. I used to be Everything Bagel right here.
No, you know everything anymore?
No bagel.
Oh, no bagel.
Trying to stay away,
Put that on your eggs.
I'm 53 with it. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'm 53 without an ish going on,
I feel you.
And then Hot Chipotle, which was my nickname in high school.
It's perfect.
That's a lie. I'm sorry, it's not.
We got a new brand ambassador.
Hi, my name is Rich Hot Chipotle Eisen. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Okay, very good. Everybody, so Dano's, you can get them where all seasoning is acquired? Is that where you can go?
So national retail now, Amazon, through the website. But Dan has an awesome story. He created the company himself.
He's big on TikTok, huh?
Huge on TikTok.
2.5 million followers about seasoning on TikTok?
Ooh.
The hell? Well done, Dano.
Give him a follow.
All right. Well, TJ, you can't give him a follow because you're not really on TikTok. Our social media guys are anti-TikTok over there. I don't know. My 14-year-old son's like, get your TikTok game.
He's more LinkedIn than TikTok.
Are you more LinkedIn? You're not even LinkedIn. You're not LinkedIn either, right?
I mean,
you're not LinkedIn.
Like Eric, he said it himself. His 14-year-old son in TikTok. Obviously, I'm not 14, so therefore I don't have a handle.
It's working for Dano and all his seasoning, man. I don't mean to involve you in my problems.
No, you're all good.
Hey, have a great time tonight at the game. Let's talk throughout the season. I have a feeling the Bills are going to be relevant, Eric. You know, I mean, I've got that sense. That spidey sense is going off that they're going to be relevant. At ewood70 on Twitter and Instagram. The new book, Tackle What's Next, Own Your Story, Stack Wins, and Achieve Your Goals in Business and Life. Available starting October 11th, where all books are sold, but you can pre-order it right now. Check out What's Next with Eric Wood podcast, and then, of course, the Dano seasoning. You got a lot going on your plate. Thanks for taking time out here today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That's Eric Wood right here on The Rich Eisen Show.